Well, hello, seniors. Welcome to your second Capstone notebook.
Yay!
We are in week 3 of the quarter. It's only a 7-week quarter. Ooh, interns come out next week, so that's cool. This video is all about the second and the weeks 2 and 3 notebook. So this notebook you're gonna have this week and the following week. It's basically gonna be due before you leave for Thanksgiving break. And this one is all focused on a module, a research module, kind of adding to the knowledge you gained last week, but also conducting your actual research for your paper.
So as you go through, again, this is the schedule. We're in, it's highlighted purple for you. This is a 2-week capstone notebook. So as you're doing this, we know that research is going to take a lot. So we've given you 2 weeks to complete that research for your topic. The rough draft is still due January 8th, final draft February 3rd. Keep that in mind as you are completing these steps.
And I think we've mentioned it, actually, we mentioned a little bit earlier, we were doing some voice memos, but understand, hopefully by now you've understood that you need to step with us. We're stepping up the ladder to get to this capstone project. Every time you do not take a step with us, you get further and further behind. Some of you have had to learn this the hard way. We don't want that. So we want you to go with us. It's not about perfections, it's about the process and learning from mistakes. So if you turn in something and you gave it a good faith effort, but you struggled, we're going to give it back and you're going to redo it when it comes to writing the essay. So those of you that hopefully, I think a lot of you, I had a lot of proposals submitted, still got to go through them. But you know, don't get behind again. It's not going to help you out. Speaking of not getting behind, we know that this is the quarter overview, but some of you need some help. And I mean, I do this anyway, some time management tips. And one of the time management tips is to have a schedule for yourself and to chunk what you have to do, to break it down. So we've done that for you. I'm actually going to put this in present mode for a minute, but we've done that for you. We've said, hey, on Monday, watch the instructional video, which is what this is right now, and start working on module 4 in the notebook. And that tells you where to find it. Tuesday, finish module 4. And the reason we want you to finish it is because we want you to take the rest of the time to do your research, but you need to have the skills in module 4 to do the research successfully.
Right. If you go all the way through that module 4, it should answer your questions, like clarifying questions on how to do particular research. So that way you can make sure that you are aware of what you're doing. And then you take that quiz, you do your vocabulary quiz, and then for the rest of the time, you're just focused on doing research for your topic.
So if it were me, I mean, knowing that I know, because I know research takes time, I would follow this schedule. This is going to be the most helpful for you. Okay. So the other thing we want to point out so that we didn't make this video super long is we realize and recognize that many of you do really well when we verbalize instructions. Even when they're written, you like it. A lot of people, myself included, we like to hear it. We like to be like, okay, that's what she was saying. We like that clarification. So what you're going to start seeing on several slides, not slides that I think you know how to do, but slides that I need to clarify, you're going to see this little icon. And if you hover over it and you click play, you'll hear whatever you're supposed to hear, and it'll play all the way through. So look for that. We're going to make it pretty large. It might be on the page, but it might be a little bit off to the side as well. Obviously, we don't know if you listen to or not, but understand that you're going to be held accountable for whatever information was in those voice memos, because especially if we're clarifying things, you're held accountable to it. So I would make sure you listen. Sorry, my dog, I don't know what my dog is doing. He's trying to tell me that he's bored. I know. Sorry. Okay. All right. So where are we going next?
So this is the green section here, our capstone resources. So this is where we're actually introducing, like from the beginning, we know where we're leading you. And a lot of you guys are, have been questioning, hey, how many points total? Like, what is the whole outlook of the capstone project? And this is where we're giving this to you right now. We didn't give it to you at the beginning because you didn't need to know at the beginning, and you were already overwhelmed with online school and virtual schooling and then learning all of this, that we feel now that you're at a point where you're starting to do that research where you can start to see how these puzzle pieces connect. And so if you spend some time, there are going to be audio files on this, so that gives you a little bit more detail, but spend some time on this green section so that you can see the whole overview of the outlook of the Capstone project.
Most definitely. Listen, they're not there yet. I have to convert them into MP3s, but they're going to be files for each of these slides 7, 8, and 9. You want to listen to them because you are being held accountable. So even though it's in writing, you're going to get a lot of our analogies and our explanation to make it sink or stick with you a little bit more.
Right.
And then the next part that you're going to see is the essential question. It's the same thing as last time. We just want you to copy and paste the approved essential question from your approved proposal. And so I know that I had about 15 kids submit proposals, or 15 or 20. And so I'm going to take tomorrow morning and I'll send it back to you if it's approved. If it's not approved, I'll tell you what you need to fix and you'll submit it again. That doesn't mean that you can't work on these things. You should be working. You'll just have to wait a minute before pasting your essential question here.
Right.
So the next one is my dog is just like telling me, get off the computer. I know. Okay. So this module is about putting it all together, the things that you learned in modules 2 and 3, and finding those sources and taking notes.
So you guys have looked up, learned different databases. Now you're going to talk about, how do I take notes from those databases? Once I find a source that's really good, how do I take that and turn it into my paper? A lot of times we were just taught just to quote things. We're going to talk about paraphrasing. We're going to talk about quoting. We're going to talk about summarizing. You need to be able to use all 3 of them in your paper. And this is where we're going to start.
So by the end of this module, you're basically going to show us that, yes, and actually by the end of the notebook, you know how to take good notes from sources, you know how to organize those sources, you know how to paraphrase, you know how to summarize, and you know how to keep track of that information so that you avoid plagiarism. So the next couple of slides, I'm going to go ahead and put this back in the normal view, are what you did in modules 2 and 3. You're going to watch some videos about these topics and you're going to take notes. Like I say on here, and we said last week, the better your notes are, the more thorough you are, the more successful you will be when you go to write your paper. And that means you're going to get the A. Understand that, we may not be in front of the classroom, but these videos are like we are there. They're the instructional part. And so you are being held accountable for that.
Right. And it makes it easier for us to be able to conference with you during that time as well. So that, because you can get our voice and instruction on here whenever you need.
So you got some plagiarism, you've got, how we read a scholarly article. Reading a scholarly article is so different than reading Instagram or Twitter or, a novel. It's you got to dig deep. It's not about just the surface level stuff.
Right.
So you'll look at that. You'll look at plagiarism. There's a plagiarism game here. It's kind of like the same thing that you did last week, only a different type of game. It's getting on my nerves. Yeah, I'm getting distracted. So the next part is paraphrasing, quoting, and summarizing, which you had some videos up here. You did that, or like you're going to learn about it. So you'll click here and you'll do what they say to learn about the differences. Like Ms. Whitworth already said, you've done a lot of quoting. I have a feeling that you may have not done as much paraphrasing. And so you're going to need that for your essay. And then you've got some practice here, more video notes on how to write an objective summary, more practice, the quiz. I don't know if you want to say something about the quiz.
No, just the fact that we're trying to utilize the extra time that we have, because we don't want to give you extra work. If you can fit it in here, this is how we're going to do it. So you've done your Frayer model. This is your vocabulary quiz. So take some time, read the directions, and then there's no reason why you shouldn't get all of your points on here, because you have enough time to work it through.
You have enough time to revise. It needs to be your work, but you can be like, "Ooh, did I do this right?" So it's not timed. It's not, "Oh, I got 30 minutes, 30 minutes or 15 minutes." And then you have a module reflection like last week. The biggest, so these are the things that we suggest that you do on Monday and Tuesday. You may need to take Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the quiz too. But starting Thursday, the bulk Thursday, this Thursday, and then the rest of the week until Thanksgiving, you should be focused on finding that research. And so there are going to be, again, there's going to be those little voice memos here. Listen to the voice memos. Every time you see it, click play. Replay it if you want to. But it's going to go more in depth about this section. Just know that this is going to take the biggest part of your time. And then at the end, you awake, Ms. Whitworth? Ms. Whitworth left. Okay, so at the end, you're going to make sure that you update your Capstone website. As we said earlier, the Capstone website, you can do it anytime. If you want to get it out of the way on Monday, cool, go ahead and do that. But you want to do it at your convenience. I don't, just whenever you have a chance, make sure you update your website. We're going to keep going back to that website. That pretty much does that for as far as these next 2 weeks. Those students that are reaching out via email and getting answers, make sure you keep doing that. The more you email me, the quicker you do that before something is due, the better I'm able to help you. As you know, I'm still out for the family emergency. And so, this is kind of what it is, but that's one of the reasons why we left so many voice memos so that you can kind of work through this at your own pace, keeping in mind that there is a deadline, but you have this 2-week chunk to get it done, okay? So yeah, you have a final deadline, but you got that 2 weeks to play with it. And that is it.